Lesson 34, Section 2. In this presentation, we'll be taking a look at the perfect passive imperative and at verbs that are active and sometimes even present in meaning, but not in form. Now, these are the forms of the perfect passive indicative, which we were introduced to in the previous lesson. Pepao mai, pepao sai, pepao tai. I have been stopped, you have been stopped, he, she, or it has been stopped. To form the perfect passive imperative, we're going to take effectively the perfect stem, which is that present stem, pao, there, with the reduplicated consonant there. And we're going to add what are, in this case, unique endings. Pepao sa, pepaos ta, pepaos te, pepaos ton. And these give us the forms of the perfect passive imperative. Pepao sa would be something like be stopped, or even better, have been stopped. Pepaos ta, let him, her, or it have been stopped, something like that. Now that doesn't sound like a very useful verb form, and if that were its only meaning for all verbs, it wouldn't be. But in the next slide, we will see why it actually does come in handy. In Greek, some verbs are active in meaning, but not in form, especially in tenses like the perfect. For instance, the verb bouleo a, I determine or resolve upon something. Let's drop the omega ending to get our present stem. Let's reduplicate our initial consonant there for the perfect stem, and let's add our passive ending to get bebouleo mai, perfect passive indicative. This is not as we would expect, I have been resolved upon. It's not, that is, passive in meaning in addition to being passive in form. It's actually going to be active in meaning. I have resolved upon. Now, it's very difficult to know just by looking at the form of the verb here that we're actually dealing with something that's active in meaning. The best way to distinguish the two, that is, verbs that are passive in form and in meaning versus verbs that are passive in form but active in meaning, is from context. Sometimes such perfect tense verbs are also present in meaning. So we looked at a perfect passive indicative verb and how it's actually active in meaning. We're going to look at a perfect passive verb that is actually present in meaning. Memnesa. This is the second person singular perfect passive imperative of mimneska, I recall, I call something to mind for someone. We would expect this to mean something like have been recalled to mind. But this is actually translated as something like remember, simply remember. Now all these combinations are pretty idiomatic, which again makes it difficult to just see the form and know how to translate it. The best thing to do is to know that these verbs are out there and to consider the context when you run into them. We'll look at phenomena like these more in later lessons. In particular, we'll look at how verbs that are, more of passive in form but active in meaning later on. So that is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much.